Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of the Wisemen Say podcast, powered by Yamo Media. Season 2, Episode 2. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
How's it going?
Hey, trying to cover myself from all these Tom bombs.
Hey, man, Tom Boger is just that guy. Also, how about the weather outside?
I don't know if we're in Ohio or Florida because all these, man, it feels like hurricane season up here.
Yeah. Not a lot, obviously, on the crew front of things, but just league-wide, a bunch of rumors, I was about to say rumored trades, but a lot of signings happening. Got to credit Tom Bogert for a lot of these, honestly, if not every single one that we're going to talk about.
I mean, he is that phone is glued to his ear.
Yeah.
He's got far. One glued to his ear and he's got one glued to his hand. So
by far, yeah. Obviously, but there is something on the crew front that we'll start off the show with. Columbus Crew Trio named to the USMNT January camp. Patrick Schulte, Aiden Morris, and Sean Zawatsky all getting the call up from a former Crew 96 boss, Greg Berhalter. What does that say about these three in particular players getting recognized on the national stage?
I mean, we all sort of knew Aiden was probably going to get another call up, right? He was called up last year, so that was no surprise, right? Schulte got called up to the U22 national team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He performed well.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, okay, he goes through the season, and what a stellar season-ending win, to win the cup, right? So you start to put him out there like, okay, let's get his name out there for the men's national team, right? For the big boy team.
Yeah.
Not just the U22. And, everybody calls it Camp Cupcake, right? The first one in January. I just think that is to bring some of these young ones up to the main level to see what talent they have, in MLS that they're calling up, right? So, I mean, you got Celentano, right?
Yep.
You got Schulte, and I forget who else.
Drake Callender,
right? You got three, top goaltenders in MLS right now. You might as well say Schulte's the top one since he won the cup. Right? He's at the top. Right? Even though he didn't win goaltender of the year. But I wasn't shocked about Schulte.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean, on the other hand, I was.
Yeah, I think Sean was the surprising factor. Because, I mean, I see a lot of people say that, I looked at, okay, there's Aiden Morris. Cool. Oh, hey, cool, there's Patrick Schulte. And then my mom, actually, she told me that she was like, oh, yeah, she was talking to my grandma. She's like, yep, Aiden Morris, yep, Patrick Schulte. Oh, hey, look, Sean Zawatsky. It's like, okay. When I saw it, I was like, okay, Morris, yeah, okay, Schulte. It's like Sean Zawatsky.
I mean, it's his hard work paid off, right?
Yeah.
He became a Swiss Army knife for the club. Played whatever position that Nazi needed him. Forward, midfield, center back. If we needed to, he probably could have subbed in for Patrick when he got knocked unconscious with that ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It tributes to his hard work. And I think this is one, this is going to be a test for him to see so he can take where his game is, see what it takes to be up here on the, the senior team, right?
Yep.
And then start building up to that to where he could be considered, a regular, fixture on the senior team.
Laurent Courtois, the other piece of news on the Columbus Crew front. Laurent Courtois joins CF Montreal as the next head coach. First reported by Tom Bogert, later confirmed through multiple sources, and the announcement was made official yesterday that Courtois has signed with Montreal, and I know we had touched on it. I think it was last week, but
I was wishing they were going the other way, but
he absolutely deserves it.
yes,
I can't think of another coach in MLS Next Pro that doesn't deserve a shot at MLS.
he deserves everything. He deserves this and more, right? He was played on the last Chivas team
Yep, Chivas USA.
in 2013, right?
I think it was 14.
13 or 14.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
One of those, right? He's been around. He's been in the Premier League. He's been, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so he brings all that experience into Columbus, when they started Crew 2, right? And
Well, he was with the academy beforehand.
yeah, so you bring him in, he's with the academy, and then 2022, hey, we're starting a new league. We'd like you to be the head coach. Okay. Nobody knew what to expect that first year for Next Pro.
Yeah.
And when you had talent like Jason, you had talent like Mo, Patrick, Noah, Marco, Abdi Muhammad, you had, Jacob Erlinson, the list goes on, Jake Morris, right? You had all that talent on the team. And I think they lost maybe 4 games, if that.
In 2022?
In 2022.
They went 16-3-5.
So 3 losses and 5 draws.
Yeah, for 55 points.
Yeah. So you only lost 3 times. And I can tell you the first one was against Rochester Rhinos. Please bring them back, MLS Next Pro, please. And that was a 4-0 loss at home.
Yeah.
They lost at Philadelphia, when we were coming back from the Charlotte game.
Yeah.
And I forget who the other loss was to.
Wasn't it Rochester again?
No, they drew.
Okay.
And they won in PKs.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was, but it was 3 losses. But you won you won the inaugural MLS Next Cup Pro Championship on your, on home field at lower.com, even though it wasn't historic, which was even better. You're in a new stadium and you win a championship.
Yeah.
You graduated Mo Farsi,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Russell Rowe, Patrick Schulte, right? Some of the other players that are on the first team, they were already signed to the first team, and they were loaned out to Next Pro. So you can't say that he graduated them, right?
Right.
But those 3 right there, you graduated them from Next Pro to the first team.
Yeah.
And you did such well, with the development that, yes, Jason, even though he didn't get that many minutes, he still had 3 or 4 goals.
I think it was 3.
It might have been. It's either 3 or 4. One of those 2.
I think it's 3. I think you had Atlanta, you had Cincinnati,
and you had Toronto. Because I think he did score 1 against Toronto.
When Toronto was here?
Yes.
Probably.
Because it was a big deal for him that he wanted to score against Toronto. Being that that's it, where he's from and everything. But okay, so 3 goals, right? But they were still. And he got called up to the
Canadian national team
twice. One for Gold Cup and one for Nations League.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's on the move, right? Getting better and better each time. And Nazi's pushing him. Nazi has said that he wasn't hired to be a babysitter, right? He's going to give you the tools. It's your job to go out there, take those tools and get better.
Yep.
And build a better picture, build a better image, right? So I really look for, him to get a little better, coming, this year, right? Schulte, we didn't expect that from him. We thought we were going to have Eloy and, It just was going to be like, okay, how's Eloy going to work with Nancy, right? And then I knew something was up when they brought the Crew 2 goalie coach, the keeper coach, up to the first team. And then when Eloy wasn't here for the first game and Patrick got thrown in there to the Wolves, right? That keeper coach helped calm Patrick down.
Philip is a very good coach.
Yeah. And he deserves all the credit as well for help developing. And then Nancy was out there with the keeper coach and, Schulte, working during one of the trainings. Nancy was getting in there like.
With the little, were you there when he was working with Patrick? It was after, I can't remember what game was after, but Nancy had one of those like dummy things you put on your arm. And he's like just like hitting Schulte, and we're sitting there like, and it happened right after like our 15 minutes was up, so we had to go inside. But it was Bailey at the time, Bailey Johnson. We were just watching. We're like, what?
He just beating up Patrick.
Yep.
But
it was like he had to, because it was
break that mentality.
Yeah, like and also like get used to having pressure on you when you have to go for a ball. They're working on corner kicks. I think it was after the Orlando match that we gave up 2 goals.
No,
3 goals.
Bailey was already gone.
Not with that Orlando match. I'm talking about regular season.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Bailey wasn't gone. Brianna had started the. Oh no.
It might have been after the Cincinnati game in May.
Okay, yeah, that sounds more right. I know it was warm outside.
Yeah, so it might have been the Cincinnati one because of that late pressure, that Cincinnati put on.
I know it was after. I know it was warm outside.
Yeah, so
I know it was warm outside.
It could have also been, the one where we gave up Orlando came back and tied at lower.com.
It was warm. I know that for sure. It was warm. Nancy was wearing short sleeves.
But
go ahead.
It's just one of those where Laurent deserves this, right? And this is going to be. I cannot wait to play Montreal now. I cannot wait, because this chess match between Laurent and Nancy, you're just gonna have to sit back and just be like. And just watch and be astounded. You know what I'm saying? We talked a little bit before the show, but with Laurent coming in here, there's so many changes that Laurent can bring in, so many people that Laurent can probably go after. One of them is, possibly Jason, right? Work with, Bez to see, get Jason to come up there to Montreal. Or get Noah, or get, see about getting Marco loaned, from New Mexico United to, Montreal, right?
Yeah.
I see Montreal being playoffs no higher than 5.
Yeah.
And no less than the play-in game, with having Laurent as the head coach. I think you could give them that between the 5th and the 8th seed, right? They could prove me wrong. They could go higher, right?
Yeah.
But I think just right now, no higher than 5th, no less than the playing game.
Where do you see players like Noah Fuson, like Erlinson? Where do you see them fitting into like the Montreal? Are they starting 11? Are they subs?
I think, if he was to get Noah, I think Noah's a starter, right? They somehow bring back Kyoto, with him being a forward as well. You put Noah and Kyoto up there on the front, young and old. I think you put Noah in there. Erlinson, I think he's also a start there at at one of the center back positions. Don't know if it's going to be right or left, but he proved um himself with Crew too. Being out there. Clay Holstead is still out there, who he had one hell of a year. Crew drafted him, put him down in Crew 2. He was, he was a solid defender. And when Lapkus ended up getting that dog, Clay stepped in as keeper, right? And he was trying to stop the Philly. I think he only let maybe 2 goals go by. Two or 3 goals out of the 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing it though.
But I mean, he was out there. You would have thought that he was a keeper, right? But I mean, he has height to him. So you could bring, possibly in Clay Holstead. But I think Erlinson deserves a shot to be in a starting 11 up there. If he does go to Montreal, I think he deserves a shot, at least a shot. If not, it's somebody that can come off the bench. Isaiah Parente's out there, who had who Laurent helped turn around him. After Porter really didn't want to do nothing with him. And I think 21. I think when Parente came in to the club.
When he signed the homegrown contract?
Yeah.
I think so.
And Porter really didn't do too much with like Matan and Parente, right? I think Laurent could go get Parente and have him there in the midfield. He could be he's proven that he could be a starter in the midfield, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if Laurent could build the original Cappy team up there in Montreal, it's hard to go up against him.
I know, right? That matchup is going to be fun.
I might shed a tear when he comes here to Columbus.
Really?
Yes, because I mean, you think I've covered Crew 2 for 2 years now,
Yeah.
right? And I've gotten to know Laurent, and it feels like that brother that just gets shit. He enlisted in the military and he's off to boot camp, right? You get all that emotion, and then when he comes home, it's just like oh my God, I can't believe you're back this early, you know. So I mean, it's gonna be very emotional at lower.com for a lot, if not all of the Crew supporters.
Switching gears, LAFC could be losing both their stars, Denny Bouanga and Carlos Vela. Bouanga looks star forward. I cannot read to save my life. Star forward looks to move to Europe after scoring 21 goals in 2 years with LAFC. First reported, obviously, by Tom Bogert. What does that mean for LAFC if they lose Bouanga?
Don Garber's team is not going to be playing for a championship anytime soon.
That's Inter Miami.
No, that's not. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's got 2 teams. He's got LAFC and he's got Inter Miami. Before Messi, it was, LAFC, right? If the rumors are true, what I'm hearing, it's hard to replace somebody like Denny, right? But what I'm hearing is Benzema. LAFC is pursuing Benzema, right?
How's that going to work with? He's in Saudi Arabia,
but there's
on a freaking $210 million contract.
But a lot of those players are trying to get out.
Yeah, I have seen that
because of the women's rights. So, the women's rights situation out there in Saudi Arabia, right? The whole world knows what's going on with women's rights over there. So these players, they can't have their wives, right? So it's just like you're over there by yourself. Their wives can't do things, their daughters can't do things. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, you got that. A lot of them do not like the heat. They entice you with those big contracts. Oh, yeah, we'll make it fully guaranteed for you. But then when you're talking about 115 degree, 120 degree, temperatures, and then the crowds that you're playing in front of are like high school, college, crowds. It's not like the crowds that you would get at an MLS game or a Premier League or a La Liga. You're not getting those, 30,000, 40,000, fans out there in that Saudi Arabia league. So, I mean, you look for a lot of those players to get out of those contracts and be trying to come back here to the MLS.
Rumor circling around on Twitter that's not Tom Bogert. New York City FC have contacted Carlos Vela's agent to see what the player is interested in and how they can be of service.
That's huge for NYCFC.
I think that's a downgrade. To be quite honest with you.
To be quite honest, I think it's huge, though. I really think it's huge for them to have a star like Vela there. Now that gives a little relevancy to NYCFC. Because who's their star forward right now?
You asked me too fast. You asked me way too fast.
Jesus, Tom. I'll get to this one here in a second. Yeah, I mean, if you can't really think of it.
No, man, we're getting there. You got Talis Magno. You have Martinez.
You're not making the case.
In my opinion, I think Talis Magno is their guy. Okay. That's just my opinion, though.
He might be their guy, right? But you add Carlos Vela to that, right? How much does that bring Magno up?
Yeah, but then also you have to take into consideration that Santiago Rodriguez is kind of their, playmaker in the midfield. He's their 10.
Okay. But, I mean, you put Rodrigo, Magno, and Vela.
Who?
You said who'd you say?
Oh, Santiago Rodriguez.
Yeah. So Rodriguez, Vela, and Magno. Right? You got a triangle right there. That gives them a little more creativity, right? You could still have Rodriguez sitting there being a playmaker, but then when you talk about you have Vela here, aren't teams going to want to try to go shut down Vela more than they are Magno?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means Magno stays open, and if that shutter was just from what I saw too from Tommy Bomb. But no, to get back to NYFC, if you have Vela there, teams are going to try to go, shut down Vela. So that leaves Rodriguez to, either go to Vela or Magno.
Yeah.
So Magno could be open to, for easy chances, for, draw fouls in the penalty. And, if you have Boyko on your side like NYFC does, then, you get all types of all the smoke.
Right. Dax McCarty, official to Atlanta United.
That's big for them.
Yeah. On the flip side of Atlanta United, Osvaldo Alonso announced his retirement. Ozzy Alonso played for the Charleston Battery, Minnesota United, Seattle Sounders, Atlanta United. I can't remember who else he played for.
It was time.
Yeah. But he had himself a heck of a career.
That's what I'm saying. When you've had when you can look at your career and say, I've done well for myself and my abilities, you can ride off into that sunset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just some of these players that don't know when to give it up when they're past their prime. Ronaldo, when they're past their prime, to say, hey, I'm hanging my boots up.
Emil Forsberg from Red Bull Leipzig to the Red Bulls of New York, New Jersey. I think that's a solid pickup.
It is.
That's a solid pickup. Nicholas Ladero, contract was up in Seattle. He is official to Orlando City.
That's huge.
They're
going to be tough then this year.
Yeah. Henrik Ravis from a team in Poland. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this. To the Revolution, goalkeeper.
Huge.
They need a goalkeeper.
Yep.
Kamal Miller from Inter Miami to the Portland Timbers.
That's big.
That's huge. Kamal Miller was probably one of Miami's best defensemen.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
And he's getting paid too now.
Oh, he's making pay.
He's finally getting paid what he's worth.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people, trashing him, on the World Cup stage, with the national team. Oh, he's not that good of a defender, things like Kamal Miller. Yes, he might be slow, a little slow. Man, that kid, goes, all in. Uh-oh. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, and somebody, when he sits back down.
Sorry, I got confused. I see the light on that camera, but not on that.
Oh, Lord.
But I think it's because the transmitter's on there. Yeah, no, Kamal Miller is...
And that's big for Portland. They're rebuilding, getting rid of the Savarese players.
Yeah, and then they bring in Phil Neville, former Inter Miami coach.
And he knows exactly what, how Kamal Miller plays.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's huge. That's like Porter going to New England and going to get Jonah.
Yep.
Going to get, some of the other former Crew players, right? Bringing in some of, former Crew assistants that he had here at Columbus, at Portland, bringing those with him because he knows them, right? He knows their style. He knows what they can bring to the table. So I'm all for it. Let Neville bring in some of these players that he's coached in the past. Get salary. That's one thing about in sports. When you hire a new head coach, you got to let that coach see what the players are and then start moving some of, getting rid or keeping, certain ones that fit your style.
Yeah.
Right? That's what Nazi did here at Columbus. I mean, you see it in football too, like college. You bring in a new head coach, you got to give him at least 5 years. Because the first 2 years, you're getting the former coach's players out. And now you're bringing in your players. Now you have to set your style up. So, I mean, I didn't agree with Neville being, there could have been probably some other coaches out there. But now that they signed with Neville, they're going all in with Neville. New ownership of Portland, as you touched last week.
Yep.
Now you say, go get the players you want, right? And Neville went and got Kamal. So.
And on the topic of Inter Miami, two-time MLS Cup champion, most recently with the Columbus Crew, Julian Gressel has signed
Finally.
with the Herons.
Finally.
I knew it was going to be Miami.
Yeah, it just didn't know when.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah. More power to him. We knew he was not going to stay here in Columbus.
No.
You know, and quite frankly, you know, I love Julian Gressel as a player, right? He brought a different dynamic to the team. But I don't think Columbus actually puts up a stronger fight if Gressel was the starting wing.
Yeah.
In those 2 games.
9 minutes ago, from Tom Baum himself, FC Dallas finalizing a deal to sign veteran center back Omar Gonzalez. 35, was most recently with New England, former USMNT, and he is a MLS Cup champion.
That's good for Dallas. What are they doing with Jesus Ferreira? You know what I'm saying? Is he going? Is he staying? I mean, you could bring in a lot of these other background pieces to the puzzle, but when your centerpiece, you don't know if he's staying or going, it's hard to, say what type of team you're going to have. If they lose Jesus Ferreira, right, they're going to have a down year because it's going to be hard to find somebody in the first part of the season.
Yeah.
So if you don't get somebody soon before the season starts, you have to wait till July. And you better be, overseas. You better be doing something. You better have so many scouts going to all these different leagues to find somebody to fill that hole in July.
Yep. First reported by Har. I can't remember her last name, saving my life. She covers the Vancouver Whitecaps. Fafa Picault should be finalizing the deal this week to join the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Solid pickup for them.
Yep. I think it's a loss for Nashville. But I do think that Vancouver could definitely use a player of that caliber who has speed and who has both playmaking, chance creating, and goal scoring abilities.
It's like I said, it's huge for Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
I see it as a loss but a win for Nashville because they have all these international slots now.
Yep.
They have all this GAM, right? I think they're cooking up something, right? We don't know what it is. But I think they're cooking something up to bring somebody in from overseas to go with Mukhtar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel it's a loss by Nashville, but I also feel like it's a win because now they freed up a spot, right? Now who are they going to bring in?
Yeah.
But it's huge for Vancouver.
I did hear that Kellen Acosta could be on the verge of joining Chicago, but then also heard that he could be joining Cincinnati. And me and you, I told you we're going to debate this.
Yeah, we're
still
going to.
Yeah, right now. Kellen Acosta, I think you touched on it for Cincinnati. What's your thoughts on that, first of all?
So
if he goes to Cincinnati.
If he goes to Cincinnati, I have to retract what I said earlier.
That loses the whole point of the debate.
But here's the thing, though, because without having prior knowledge, right, of some, of a source stating that he could go to Cincinnati. Yes, I'm all for what I said earlier that Cincinnati will not repeat as number one in the East, right? because of some of the players that they've lost. You know, you lose Mosquera, right? You know, his loan was up and he's going back, back overseas. Or, he could be sold, here in the MLS to somebody, right? That's willing to pay. You lose Brandon Vasquez, who arguably outside of Lucho Acosta was your team, right? You lose him to, I think he went Monterrey?
Monterrey, yep.
You lose him, right? You don't have a team. Yes, you got some role players, but you don't have that two-headed dragon of Vasquez and Acosta, right? Well, Lucho. Now, yes, they won't repeat. I think Columbus will win the Shield.
I see Cincinnati getting one again. Getting first in the East. The Shield, I don't know. But first in the East, I see them getting first in the East. Here's why. Okay? As far as I know, there's no offer for Alvaro Barreal. Right? You have Celentano. You have Acosta.
Mm-hmm.
Santiago Arias, I think, is back in Cincinnati.
I think from what I heard, I have to look up him because there's something, I think somebody's looking at him.
Hang on. Santiago Arias. As of 1 hour ago, negotiations between FC Cincinnati and Santiago Arias have cooled down.
So I know there was somebody looking at him.
Okay. Well, as of right now, so let's put hypotheticals into it then. Hypothetically speaking, if Arias does somehow find his way back to Cincinnati, you have Barreal, which I know is looking for a move to Europe.
Yep.
You have Celentano, you have Acosta, you have Arias. You have Bupenza, who was cold when he got to MLS. I don't think he lived up to the hype that Cincinnati put him up to. Give him a year, like Columbus did Cucho, and watch what happens. I think then the Bupenza that we saw when the transfer was announced comes out. Just like give Cucho a year, the Cucho from Watford comes out, right? You throw in, if it happens, Kellen Acosta, right? You also have, I'm blanking right now.
You got Miazga coming back.
Yeah, thank you. You got Miazga coming back after he's going to miss the first game of the season. But you also still have Pat Noonan at coach of the year. You also have the MVP. You'll also have goalkeeper was Roman Bierke. You have the runner-up for goalkeeper of the year, Roman Celentano. Cincinnati has tremendously turned their club around since joining the league in 2019.
Which I give them that, though, right? But I'm looking at it as, yes, you got these role players, right? But you lost your soul.
The soul is Acosta. I'm being 100% real right now. I understand what you're saying, Vasquez, right? As the goal scorer, yes.
Not really, not also as the goal scorer, right? But also as somebody that helps out Acosta, right?
If you take out Acosta, how many goals does Brandon Vasquez have in the year?
If he's not there.
If Acosta is not on Cincinnati, you take out Acosta, How many goals does Brandon Vasquez have on the year?
Possibly have 12.
Oh, my friend, you are fried.
I mean, he had 8 the year prior.
Yeah, he had just joined MLS.
That's what I'm saying. So you give him a year, right?
You give him a year, and you give him Luciano Acosta with him.
And he still didn't. I mean, he didn't score that many goals.
I kind of put him being injured as a factor into that. But here's my point, right? What I'm saying is Brandon Vasquez looked good when Acosta made him look good, right? But here's the thing also. Noonan had to make Acosta look good in order for Vasquez to look good, and Bupenza. Miazga's a whole different clown. He makes himself look bad.
Is he going to take over as the new Taxi?
Oh, no, because you can't even compare the two. Because one racially abused his teammate, the other one just makes a stupid boneheaded decision of trying to get into the referee's locker room. But you also let's also look at how their transfer window is going. Also, I don't know of any moves they've made, honestly, but at the same time, Columbus hasn't made any moves either. But we have.
But we don't know what else Chef Bez is cooking.
Yeah, just like I don't know what Cincinnati, but I'm sure Cincinnati has a plan because they're riding high off of this remarkable historical season,
Which it is.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, but I really think it's going to come down to either Cincinnati or Columbus or Inter Miami for number one in the East, right?
I see Cincinnati 1, Columbus 2, Miami 3. Miami is a guaranteed top 3 for sure. If they don't make top 3, if they don't even make top 5, something's wrong with that organization, and Beckham needs to just fucking fold.
Yes,
I tried so hard to go this episode without cussing, but goddamn,
you know what? We're in a debate right now, but like I said, right? Vasquez is that one where, yes, everybody tried, like I mentioned about Carlos Vela, right?
Yeah.
Acosta's got the ball. Everybody's trying to shut him down, so that leaves open the role players, right? So Vasquez, it's kind of hard to, it's like, what poison do you choose? Do you choose Vasquez and leave, Acosta? Or do you, go after Acosta and leave Vasquez? Look at that goal that he scored against Columbus in the playoff. The first goal of the game.
Who was?
Vasquez. How he slipped in there. That's stuff that Vasquez can do, right?
Yep.
And when you lose somebody like that that's real sneaky, now it puts harder on Bupenza. It puts harder on, Acosta, right? Your midfield, you're trying to still figure out your midfield. I mean, you got Barriel, right?
That's so far.
So far, you still got Barriel, but the winter window's still open.
Yeah.
So you never know. Somebody from Europe can be like, we won him, But you still got that midfield, right? Which means Acosta and Bupenza still has to work harder now that Vasquez is not there. Which I think that puts a little too much weight on their shoulders. Yes, you bring in Miles Robinson on the defensive end to go with Miazga, right?
Thank you. That's the other. That's the name I was looking for earlier. Miles Robinson.
You got 3. You got 2. Men's national team players on the team, right?
Yeah.
But they also don't have a Baji anymore. I think he was one that was let go.
I think so also.
You don't have Junior Moreno anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you lost some key players that, yes, they didn't have the stats like the top dogs, right? But they played pivotal roles in the games.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing some of those players. It's hard for you to go get some of those caliber players right, to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's up in the air between Columbus, Cincinnati, Inter Miami for the number 1 spot in the East, right? As far as the Shield goes, listen, I said it before the show. Columbus wins the championship and this offseason goes to hell. Everybody is in their kitchens cooking some, delicious, meals, right? Except for Austin FC. They're horrible cooking. But it's everybody sees Columbus and what they did under Nancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to top that, right? So you're seeing all these teams pulling out all the stops. Inter Miami, did we really expect them to do anything other than what they've been doing?
No, not really.
I mean, that they just built a Inter Barcelona, right? Bringing all those players in to go with Messi.
Yeah.
How long do we have them? We don't know, right? So I think they're going to lean heavy on their Inter Miami 2 squad for some of these tournaments, right? But you got so it's one of those where Cincinnati can repeat as the number 1 seed. Will they repeat as supporter shield, back-to-back supporter shields? Doubt it. Because everybody is going out there to top, the top team in the league, and that is
Right.
Columbus, right?
Yeah.
So we got a giant bullseye on our back here. And quite frankly, I think Bez is saying we want all the smoke. Because Bez is sitting in the kitchen cooking. Hopefully we find out soon, when preseason starts, what he's got planned. What, if he could give us some type of inkling. Are we getting another winger? Are we getting another back, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? And I really think we touched on it a little bit before the show, but there's a Ghanaian winger, a Ghanaian winger out there, right? That's out in the Belgium league. That he's young, and I think Columbus is written all over it, but they're not naming the team who's showing interest in him.
Yeah.
And the last time that we did that, you know what I'm saying, we got a big signing, right? So we'll see what Chef Bez is cooking.
Trying to find anything that we missed.
I mean, I do know.
I don't think we missed anything. I think we got everything covered so far within the last week or so.
Let me go to Tom's page. Let's see here. I think DC United. Oh, Miguel Berry.
Where did he go?
LA Galaxy.
Oh, yeah. That was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Way before the new year.
Yeah. But still, you got to touch on it a little bit. That's a big, that's big for him.
Yeah.
I think it will revitalize, he might get a little better.
Cole Bassett, contract extension with the Colorado Rapids.
But they're cooking, right? Austin FC does finalizing a deal to sign Brazilian left back Guilherme Biro.
Guilherme Biro.
Which he's 23, so I mean, that's big for them, I guess, right?
Yep.
Cade Cow.
Oh yeah, it's Chivas.
Well, it's also that, but additionally, per Tom, Europa League club that continues to pursue him is AEK Athens.
The writing's on the wall. He's going to Chivas. He's going to Chivas.
Athens is managed by former San Jose head coach.
I thought that was Chivas.
Mateus Almeida.
I thought that was Chivas. That's
Ladies and gentlemen, you can see the tweet.
Yeah, he's going to Chivas. All signs point to Chivas.
I mean, they do, but the deal's not done yet.
It's getting there though.
Austin FC also.
About Johan Romania
Yeah.
from San Lorenzo. They transferred to San Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your take on the Richie Larea?
I don't know enough about it because I just saw it like before the show. I don't know enough about it to give an input. All I know is that he's on MLS free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Teams can cap it at 1.7, but he's still with Nottingham Forest.
And Nottingham's not trying to let him go.
Yeah. First of all, when the hell did that happen? So I don't remember seeing anything about Nottingham Forest getting Richie Larea.
They need him.
Yeah, but back. Like still, golly.
We did forget one from for Atlanta United coming from Bordeaux. Stein Gregerson.
I did hear about that. Yeah,
the center back. I mean, there's LA Galaxy also signing Brazilian winger Gabriel Peck.
Yep.
They're signing him to a deal just like Chicharito's deal. It was $10 million. We already touched on Denny. You know, he wants to go play back in France.
Yeah.
You know, that's... You know, go ahead and go back to France. You know what I'm saying?
Is that everything caught up from the last few days?
Chicago Fire are finalizing deal with center back Tobias Salquist from the Danish club Silkeborg IF. I mean, he's 28. He's a long-term target for Chicago. He's got 160 appearances with his team that he is over there in the Danish league. St. Louis signed Denmark youth international left back Nicholas Dyer. I think we did touch on that.
Yeah.
Let's see what other.
I think that's it, honestly.
Charlotte put a bid in for $9.5 million for Albert Grombeck.
Yeah, saw that.
Sounders sign. I think they're looking to sign Pedro de la Vega.
Okay, here. Enough transfer talk. Pablo Moore and Tom Bogert. Negotiations between Pro and PSRA aren't going well.
Uh-oh.
A work stoppage feels imminent with the collective bargaining agreement expiring on the 15th. Could MLS begin the season with replacement referees?
Before I touch on that, there is one more that we forgot about the Portland Timbers.
No, we touched on it.
Maxime Crepeau?
We touched on it.
We did?
Yes. I remember that.
I remember touching on Kamal Miller.
No.
But not Crepeau.
We touched on Crepeau.
Okay. All right, so back to this referee stoppage.
The last time that we had a league use replacement refs did not go well. It was the NFL. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, may I turn your attention to Seattle, Green Bay, week 1. One ref calls it an interception. One ref calls it a touchdown.
And they go with the interception. Had they went with the touchdown, Green Bay would have won the game.
Yeah.
Officiating is already bad as is in all sports. It sucks that some of these refs are are dictating games, right, in key moments in all sports. There was several times, in MLS this year that there was some close games and the ref made a bad call and would not take a look at, or there was a no call and they just kept going through and would not give VAR upstairs a chance to look at it.
Yep.
All sports, some of these refs are dictating the winners, right? And it sucks that the game is left in the hands of the officials. It could be a close football game, teams down 1 point, and, and somebody takes off, and it's a small foul that you haven't been calling all game.
Yeah.
And it's under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, and here comes the flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gives that offense another chance, and they win the game. When you've been calling it one way, and then the last few minutes of the game, you start actually, buckling down, right? That's why I forget which game it was that we had a good official in MLS, right, in the playoffs, that was letting the teams play, right?
John Freeman.
Yes.
Orlando.
Yeah, he let the teams play. If it was egregious, he called it. Because how many times, who was it that should have been thrown out of the game in the first half, right? And he didn't get thrown out until no, he still didn't get thrown out. It was somebody different.
It was Schlegel.
Yeah.
They got the red.
Yeah, but it wasn't the one that, should have been thrown out.
Yeah.
That was Atlanta. It was Atlanta. It was the Spider-Man guy.
Muyamba.
Yes.
That wasn't Spider-Man, though.
He's the one that did the
Nah, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. I know what you're talking about. But you're talking about Muyamba was the one that kept going after Aiden.
Yes.
Yeah. But he wasn't Spider-Man.
But there was somebody on the Atlanta team that did Spider-Man.
Right, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
him. But he was the one that should have been gone out of 2 games.
Yeah.
Right? And the same thing with the Orlando game, but he let the teams play. John Freeman did, right? Great. I think the official for the Cincinnati game, I think they let him play.
Alan Chapman.
Yeah, so Chapman let him play as well.
Yeah.
Didn't really call too many, crazy calls, right? The ref, forget who we had for MLS Cup.
Armando Villarreal.
He let the teams play.
Yeah.
And then when it started getting chippy in that second half, then you start seeing yellows, right? So I think there are some good officials out there that that will dictate, at the beginning of the game, hey, this is how I'm going to call the game, right? If it's like we've touched on, if it's a red in the first minute, it's a red in the 9th.
Yes.
The 90th. If it's a yellow in the 15th, it's a yellow in the 75th. If you have more refs being consistent with their calls, I don't think fans and players will be upset, right? It's when you call it in the first half, but you don't call it in the second half. Or you call it on, if a player commits a foul and you call it on them in the second half, right? And that player then gets the same foul done to them and the ref doesn't call it.
Yeah.
Now you have gripes, right? Now you're starting to think, okay, well, are you singling me out? Which I think the whole case was Sergi Boyko, right? I don't think that deserved a yellow card when Cucho went to go do that bicycle or to clear that ball. His foot never hit the guy's face. It was the ball that hit it. He sold it like it was Cucho's foot. And they never really went and looked at the call. And he called that second yellow on Cucho, which I still don't think the one that he got at halftime, he should have gotten. Because you see all these other players and other coaches, going off at the ref at halftime, and there's no yellows.
Yeah.
Right? We saw Boyko give the keeper for NYCFC
a yellow 13 minutes in.
Yeah.
For time wasting.
Yeah. So we knew he was on trash. Right?
He wanted all the smoke. He wanted all the smoke. Okay. Can I play devil's advocate?
Go ahead. Here comes the official Tyler.
Cucho's yellow. I don't think should have been a yellow, but he was playing in a dangerous manner. If that makes sense.
It makes sense, but if you go back and you watch it, it doesn't really look like a dangerous manner. It looks like he was going up with it to clear it, and the ball hit his foot and bounced off dude's face.
It's not more so of the ball, though.
I mean, yes,
it's
his foot
more
was
so
high in the area.
It's more so of the foot in the general area of the head, neck, face area. That's why it was called. And that's why it was caught. Now, do I think it should have been a yellow? No. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I think that's a very harsh last warning. And don't do it again.
But studs were not facing the player, though. The studs were not up.
It doesn't matter. The studs were up. His foot was his leg went like straight up, and the studs were exposed. The studs were. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it tonight. Go back and watch it.
I just might because I have to watch because we lost our star and we lost our coach for 2 games. We lost Cucho for 1 and Nazi for 2.
Yeah.
Because of that game. And I still think they should have been done something because, I mean, Nazi shouldn't have got 2 games because he's trying to protect his players because of that, how it was Luis Diaz.
Oh, the foul, right?
Yes, yeah. that Luis Diaz got fouled hard. And Boyko's just like, nope, play on. Or nope, it's
And then he gets fouled, and then Diaz fouls and against New York City, going back the other way.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think it just was Nazi was protecting his players.
Mm-hmm.
Did Nazi half a foot step onto the pitch? Possibly.
He did. I can 100% say
yes, he
that
did.
He did step onto the field.
He did. His foot stepped onto the pitch, right?
No, he stepped onto the pitch.
But I saw some other players throughout the season, or not players, but coaches, step onto the pitch.
In what sense? In what manner?
Like they were going off on the ref. They were going off on the center official.
Did they step fully onto the pitch, or did they just go onto the line?
No, they were over the line. Like, I'm being dead serious. They were over the line, and the 4th official just pulled the coach back.
I think we just got the short end of the stick then.
But what I think it was is when Federico Pizzuto threw the water bottle or threw the water. That's what set everything off.
No, because everything was already going off. We were already down to 10. Boyko's right there. Diaz gets fouled, nothing. But then Diaz fouls going the other way, and he calls it. Everything was already running on thin ice. Columbus was already on thin ice after the red card to Cucho.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just, that whole game, honestly, it was already a 1-1 game. Just call it right there because
it was 1-0.
Oh, it was 1-0.
Yeah, Zawadzki got the game winner in the 90th minute.
Yes, that's right.
It was 1-0. It was actually 0-0.
Yeah, and then
New York went down and scored.
Then we lose Cucho.
Yeah, then we lose Cucho. New York has a momentum. Now we're down our performance coach. We're down our head coach. We're down our forward. Everything's in goddamn shambles. And then it's just
Sawatsky.
Yeah. But at the same time, which was then our most listened to episode was the Nazi press conference. It was the most listened episode.
So I don't know who it was that asked him at the end. He started saying something. He's like, no, I'm going to shut up now.
I don't know. I was with communications and the pro referee liaison getting answers from the questions, and I missed the entire thing.
Yeah, you came in the locker room.
Yeah.
But no, I
went back up because I needed to get the answers to the communications staff because they needed them like right away, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I forget who it was, but Nazi started saying something about the.
I want to go back and listen to this interview now.
So he I think I got the audio still.
I can go back on. I can go back on Anchor and just listen to it.
Yeah. Did I upload? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. It was for 2 months. It was our most listened to episode. It was our most listened episode. And if you don't know what we're talking about and you're just now catching up or don't remember, I will link it somehow in the description, and we can all go back and listen to it.
Man, but no, like he started saying something about the officials at the end, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna shut up right now." He's like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And
because he didn't want to get fined any more than he was already going to get.
Then he got up, and the press conference was
ended. Any other news that we want to talk about?
The Cappies did get a new player.
Oh yeah, you can touch on this.
Teron Williams that played with the Real Monarchs, midfielder. So he does fill a spot for the departed Marco Micheletto, who's down there in New Mexico United. He traded one black and gold in for another black and gold. Wish you the best of luck down there, Marco. Welcome, Teron Williams. Still don't have a head coach for Crew 2 yet. Which I would love to see, in my opinion, Josh Williams or Federico Higuain. Right? I don't care what Bez has to do to go get him from Inter Miami. If you're going to, if you need a coach for Crew 2, those two are the top. Right? In the so far in the offseason, Madranda and Christian Ramirez went down. I think they're getting their license for coaching. So that's going to be exciting when they decide to hang up their boots, what they're looking to do, post-soccer, right? Don't have really too much after that.
Nothing. Let's see what the week brings us.
And
hopefully a preseason schedule.
Man, listen.
Since preseason starts this week.
Yeah, I think it starts Friday when they report, or next Monday.
I think it's...
Well, we know Patrick, Aiden, and Sean are all down in Orlando right now.
Right.
So they're there till the 16th.
I guess we just have to wait and see.
I think they report.
I think they report Friday
and preseason starts Monday.
Yeah.
So, and then men's national team has a friendly against Slovenia.
Yeah, the 20th.
Yep.
Next
week.
Yeah, it's next
Saturday.
Wednesday.
No, because the 15th is on Monday.
Next Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, so
I was messing up my math there. I got nothing.
The bubble's up.
Hey, yeah, there we go.
The bubble's up,
That's
so
fun.
you know, preseason workouts are going to be coming.
Yep. That's it.
It needs to come on, man.
Yeah. Next week, talking about preseason. Prayfully. Previewing USMNT versus Slovenia. Hopefully that we can see our three guys get onto the pitch. More transfer talk and any other MLS news or Columbus Crew news that comes our way, I guess.
If there's any breaking news from Columbus, you will see it on our Twitter page.
Yep.
We will get it out there as fast as we can. If Tom does, it's like a race with Tom. Who could get it out there first? But shout out to him though for all the hard work he's doing, like trying to. I can't be in his shoes. You know, you got one phone glued to your ear, you got one phone glued to your hand, and you probably got a tablet or a laptop. All that. So let's get ready.
Other than that, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Wisemen Pod, on Instagram at the Wisemen Say Podcast, and on TikTok. We finally got TikTok to freaking work.
We did?
Yeah.
Hey.
I just used my birthday, which was...
Shout out to Seattle Rain. It's back. Get the OL out of there. Seattle Rain is back. Thank you.
Follow us on TikTok, also at Wiseman Pod. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Wiseman Say Podcast. You can follow Jerald on Twitter also.
614 Bucknuts with a Z.
At Fisher Tyler __. And be sure to give Yamo Media a follow also. This show would not be possible without them. And yeah. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. My friend, as tradition goes, Wiseman Say.
Only fools rush in.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Stay wise.